Good evening, everybody, and welcome on into NRRL Race Day. I am your commentator for tonight, David, and this is round number 5 here at the Suzuka circuit. Originally a test circuit for Honda, but then, of course, became the track we all know and love today. So at the moment, we go into tonight with your championship leader being Dan Lovett, hoping to continue his reign, winning last week in Spain looking to make that 2 in a row tonight. Can he get the first chance and take pole position right off the bat? Well, let's just wait and see. We are a bit late on this one tonight, folks, and I do apologize for the delay. It's just been a couple of rather last-minute changes here, so we are all good to go. Now, at the moment, a few drivers already out on a hot lap. Rendog being one of them, Mr. J being another, Hash, I Have No Grip, and Tudor with a few others as well in Williams and Haas's as well. But obviously, we'll have more drivers as the session continues on. So, of course, with Dan Lovett being on top as well, we do have the Mercedes constructors as well at the top of the field as well. Rendog and Dan Lovett doing their bit for the British-based team, and so they are just looking to try and keep things going well into the season. Of course, their nearest competitor is, well, 43 points behind them, and it's the Racing Bulls there. So we'll see what happens, and there we go. Mr. Jabe is the one who sets down the gauntlet, as Rendog then goes and beats it by a second and 2/10 right off the bat there. Of course, everybody on soft tyres for this qualifying session. Of course, a single session, 18 minutes to decide drivers tonight through 1 through 15. And then, of course, we have the full distance Grand Prix, of course. I think it is about 56 laps around the Suzuka circuit, if it's about a minute and a half. And so we'll see what happens. And Paul Codd as well, just the 5th driver to come in and set a time tonight. So it's a 1:31.356. And then DGH is coming and then sets up 1:29.0, so a half second ahead of Rendog there. But the one I'm looking out for, and one of the ones I was looking out for there, Noah with a 1:28.821 there. So, of course, back when I commentated on round 2, he, of course, took the win at the British Grand Prix, and I even missed his lap 1 overtake at turn 1 there, and he very much took that one, and that was a very good debut from the Williams driver. Dan Lovett now on his flying lap as other times around him are coming in thick and fast. At the moment, of course, we've just seen the fastest of the bunch, but this is the championship leader. This is the one who wants to try and set things down, of course, has taken an actual good streak. 3 podiums over the past 3 races, of course. Saudi Arabia, the opening one, was his only unlucky blemish so far, so looking to make it 4 podiums in a row, as now Tez has also gone up into 3rd with a 1:29.0, so beaten I Have No Grip there for the top 3. So at the moment, a Kick Sauber, a Red Bull, and a Williams locking out the top 3. But can this Mercedes of the championship leader do something here? As he goes through the hairpin, there's a Haas taking rather extreme maneuvers going across track limits. That is Ori Mas taking to the grass there at the exit of the hairpin. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see if he can improve on that 6th place for the Haas driver with a 1:29.681 so far. And even more extreme maneuvers for another car there. That's the McLaren, the only running McLaren tonight, of Paul Codd 001 there. Of course, last time I saw him, he looks to have made a couple of improvements as well. So he's actually catching up to the pack there. 1:31.356. That's only nearly half of 10th away from Hash there. So we'll see what happens to Paul Codd. He's still got a few races to go before we do his season's end. But Dan Lovett there, coming to the end of his lap and not quite able to quite poke his way into the top 3. But otherwise, a very decent job from the Mercedes, an opening flying lap that sees him in 4th position and even just under a couple of tenths ahead of I Have No Grip there. So all said and done for now. So Dinosaur is the only driver of the 15 to not set a lap time, but that's quickly going to go away as long as he can keep his lap validated through to the Casio Triangle now. and he is going to be the last driver to set an opening fly. Let's go aboard with the Tifosi car as now we approach going down the start-finish straight here, and you approach the first corner at about, I would say, about 190 miles per hour on this game, but it's a very fast first corner. You kind of have to brake mid-corner, and as you can see, it's very easy to understeer and completely miss the second part. Now this is the snake section of the track, and they call this the S-curves as well, but usually well known as the snake of the track, and of course the only track to be a figure of 8 on the F1 calendar. This part is called Dunlop, and now the battery is set, the ERS being used as he's now approaching Degner's 1 and 2 here, and taking those relatively okay, probably not the most optimal way of attacking those corners, but now through to the right-hander, and now here's the hairpin. It comes at you rather fast, and you kind of, again, similar to the first corner, you kind of have to brake at the midway, and just as we're watching this, I Have No Grip has got himself up into second place in the Alpine there, so great lap from him. But at the moment, we are looking at the Ferrari driver here as he approaches Spoon Curve. Double left-hander through here. You have to go wide, and then you approach the left-hander again. Allow yourself to go wide through here and take the exit curb. That's usually the best way of doing it, but I don't think Dinosaur is going to be competitive on this one, but we'll see as he's going to approach 130R in 2005. Fernando Alonso with an iconic overtake on Michael Schumacher around the outside, but now we approach his Casio Triangle, and this is going to be a take as much curb as you dare. Don't invalidate the lap. Very easy to do it through there if you're feeling very brave. And to the line now, DRS opening, the one and only time, and that's actually 11th place for the Ferrari driver, so not bad stuff at all. As we see a Mercedes in the background take to their flying lap. That is Rendog, teammate to Dan Lovett. And they've just lost a couple of positions to guys that have been a bit later than them. Of course, Rendog losing one of those positions to his teammate. So let's see what he can do. It's the second flying lap from the Mercedes driver. And it should be a fresh set of softs for it. But no, it is not. That is not a fresh set of softs. So actually, I wonder if he's just jumped up into 6th place then. So I wonder if I've just missed that in the background. We'll, of course, find out once he approaches the timing line through Sector 1. No, he is up. So this is a second flying lap. And just so you know, in case you are new to watching this, the delta in the top right does not compare to the overall session best. It is the driver's personal best in this session. So just so you're aware of that, in case you are new and just wondering how the deltas work, that's how it works. So you just want to be careful of that. But anyway, at the moment, 1.5 tenths up would only really see him improve on his personal best, not his overall position. DGH as well from 3rd place is also currently out on a flyer. He's 3rd with a 1:29.0. I imagine he'll be blasting the sector times with positive deltas throughout the lap. But anyway, the Mercedes of Rendog now approaching 130R, nearly 3 tenths up. So now that's more like it if he wants to find a position to even go above his teammate. Let's see what he can do. Going into Casio Triangle, that looks pretty okay from the Mercedes. Now, just the start-finish line to come. Just a slight kink of a right-hander, but it's foot to the floor. And that is 5th place for now. And that is just under 0.06 of a second there to his teammates. But there we go. So let's cut to the Red Bull of DGH. And actually down on his personal best in Sector 1. So not really looking good through here. But can he find something magical in Sector 2? He is on a fresh set of soft tyres. So that would be nice if he could just try and improve on this, or else he's going to find himself in real trouble here. 7 minutes to go, but then again, if you can't find improvements throughout the session, that means the track evolution isn't going your way, and the Red Bull very wide there through the Spone, and has indeed abandoned that lap. So now we go to Tez in the Kick Sauber, of course, found himself after his qualifying lap in 3rd place, but of course, thanks to I Have No Grip going into 2nd, finds himself in 4th now, but can he improve on that? Let's see. The Sector 2 timing line is just down this straight now, which I think hosts the Suzuka East circuit. I might be wrong, though, but that's half a second. That's good enough for Paul on his personal best. This is really good stuff from Tez, the Kick Sauber. Let's see how he approaches the Casio Triangle on board with Tez here, going through that triangle section, and now to the start-finish line, DRS opening. That, my friends, is pole position for now. That is very important distinction, but Noah, of course, I have seen what he can do behind that Williams car. Let's see what he has got in store. He is currently up on his personal best as well, but not enough to beat the Kick Sauber of Tez as of right now, but this might be just the magic that he needs. Let's see what he can do. He goes through Spoon, and now he is gonna go to the start-finish straight which of course hosts the East Circuit for the time being. And now it's going to be 3/10 up, so still not quite enough, but it's going to be, actually, I say that, but it's really going to be very close indeed as he now approaches Casio Triangle for what will probably be the penultimate time in this qualifying session. And we'll soon see what the time he sets. It's going to be a 1:28.3. So there we go. Actually, it was a 10th. Well, yeah, it was just over a 10th to Tez there. So great lap from the Williams of Noah there. Just showing when the cards are down, he does have what it takes to make the relevant improvements. Meldrum coming to the end of his lap. Oh, and it would have been a good lap as well. 6/10 up in Sector 2. That would have been a dramatic improvement of a 1:30.1. But depending on what it was in Sector 1, it would have been only a personal best improvement, not a positional improvement. So we'll go back to Dan Lovett for the time being, but down on both of his sectors. We saw him down by, I think it was just about 1 or 2 tenths in Sector 1 and a few hundredths down in Sector 2. Let's see if he can find Sector 3. Is Sector 3 his weak point from his previous hot lap? Let's have a look. Very wide line through there, and it looks to have been, because that's nearly 2.5 tenths, and goes back ahead of his teammate, the Mercedes, swapping positions, saying anything you can do, I can do better. Mr. Jabe at the moment just coming off a flying lap, so we'll go to Paul Codd, who is trying to improve, nearly 2.5 tenths down on his personal best. So this means he is not really improving. A 1:31.356 is the time to beat for him, and is just, 4 hundredths off Hash in front of him, of course, I do believe. Well, I'm not going to comment too early, but of course, I've been out of the loop on NRRL for a few weeks, so I'm not quite sure who's new and whose experience. Of course, this was a, like I said before, haven't quite had the time to make the notes, but I am doing the best with what I've got. I do have a couple of things helping me around, and thank you to the admins as well for just providing their support, for allowing me to come in today. You've been very, very kind about it. And now, from 15th, does Paul Codd improve through Sector 3? No, he's still down on his personal best, so he will remain dead last for now, but looking a bit more competitive than usual. Paul Codd has definitely made some improvements while I have been gone. At the moment, we're just kind of waiting for a flying lap to come in, and I think we are just about to get one, because Quincy, of course, who, well, I've been commentating over at SSRL, he took the Division 2 championship title in his own league, so looking to continue that momentum through to tonight. I'm not sure if he's quite on pace here, of course. Early impressions suggests he's not, but now we are for the first time seeing a flying lap from him since the first one, and it just looks like he was very wide through the snake section there, not preferable. And yeah, that's what I kind of thought, as he is nearly 800ths down on his time. I didn't think that was the preferable line, but now going through to Sector 2, let's see if he can pick up the time lost through here and potentially more. Bit of a moment there potentially as he went through the hairpin. Going through the long right-hander, but you keep your foot to the floor, let the aerodynamics carry you through the corner, and now the spoon section, you go left, then go wide, and then left again, but then on the exit, go wide again for the straight. Goodness me, Quincy trying to get the maximum amount of performance from that Alpine he possibly can. What is the time? Yeah, I kind of thought as much. Quincy just doesn't quite look comfortable in that French car. And unfortunately, it doesn't look to be paying him any dividends. So he's going to come to Casio Triangle for, I'd probably say that's even the last time. And in fact, no, he's straight into the pits. I don't think he's got enough time to go into the pits, change the tyres, and go out again. So we'll cut to DGH, of course, 4th place after Tez came in with a monstrous time. And then Noah also came in to take pole away. For now, I would say we are currently in early stages as DGH is forced to get out of the way. That is Rendog, I think, on a flyer. It indeed is. He is improving through Sector 1. This will be his final flying lap, and he is up on his personal best according to the track map. If that says purple, that just relates, of course, to their personal best, like the Delta in the top right. But here we go. DRS opening. That's 3rd place for the Mercedes driver. There we go. That's a bit more like it, says the Mercedes crew. And Hash there from 10th place, well, from 14th to 10th there, as, oh, goodness me, what's the Aston Martin doing? There's a car behind him, gets through without much drama, but Mr. Jabe there, if he was on a flying lap, that could have ended a bit more catastrophically. Ori Mass is also on a flyer as of right now. Of course, took drastic measures earlier on to try and stay out of the way of drivers on a flying lap. Of course, it is appreciated, but not always necessary. You can keep it on the grey stuff. There is usually just enough room if you can just go left or right, or just stay off the racing line. But at the moment, Ori Mas up on his personal best, but not by much. He needs to just kind of keep that coming together. At the moment, this would only see him be a personal best improvement, not a positional improvement. So really needs to dig deep through the hairpin, through the spoon, and then through 130R. Noah, with a bit of an egotistical retirement, you would say, and that is very risky considering Tez has just started his final flying lap with under 30 seconds to go. So we'll keep an eye on that kickstart, but we'll also keep an eye on I Have No Grip, who is looking to have all the grip here in Suzuka tonight. He's just at hairpin as we speak, but we are currently watching Ori Mas try and improve. That is 1.5 tenths up, still not really enough if he wants to try and break into the top 6. Bit of an visiting my alien overlords moment there from the Haas driver, as he was just looking a bit unstable due to his connection. And now the qualifying countdown has been completed. Drivers are on their final flying laps. Ori Mas cannot improve on his position, so he'll have to just settle for a personal best for now. Next driver across the line is a Mercedes, but of course that is Rendog, who's already set a lap. Next one is either Meldrum or Dinosaur. Dinosaur also improving on his personal best. He's starting from 12th. Now to 11th. Hips his teammate. I Have No Grip is next across the line. Potential pole sitter. No, he can't quite do it. Has to settle for third. 128.5. But does Mr. Jabe have anything in response? But more importantly for pole, does Tez have anything? There is 3 tenths up in Sector 2. Well, can he carry this momentum through to Sector 3? What has he got in that Kick Sauber? Not known for being the quickest in real life, but in the sim, it's pole position for Tez. What a lap from the Kick Sauber driver. My word, a 128.168. Noah will be beating himself as to wonder, why did I retire at that point and not go out for a final flight, or just time his runs better? What has the Racing Bulls got in store? Nothing. He's going into the pits. Galley there well, I say retirement, but he doesn't come across the line. And, well, that was 15 minutes of qualifying, because we were a bit late on the start there on the broadcast, which again, I do apologize, but the best was saved for last. And what a qualifying that is from Rendog as well. But more importantly, what a lap that was from Tez, especially in the Kick Sauber. Just going into tonight, the Kick Sauber is currently sit in 4th position with 43 points. I'm just trying to read the points tally on my otherwise broken printer paper, but I just can't quite read it. So you know what? Now that we know qualifying is all over, why don't we go and just look at the results first, and then we can cut straight to the constructors standings. So, rounding out your top 5 here, it is Tez on pole, Noah second, I Have No Grip third. Then it's Rendog and DGH rounding out 4th and 5th, with 6th to 10th being Dan Lovett, Ori Mas, Mr. J, Meldrum, and Quincy. Then from 11th to 15th is Hash, Dinosaur, Matt Tudor, Galley, and Paul Codd. So, let's just have a quick look at your standings going into tonight. Dan Lovett ahead by 9 points to Josh, who I don't think is with us tonight. Then it's Ryan Brooks in third in the other Kick Sauber, but he is not racing tonight either. Then it's Rendog and I Have No Grip, rounding out your top 5, followed by Finjo, Kevin Baker, Connor Beatty, Mikey Boy, and Gav Boy, rounding out your top 10. Then it's Jabe Jameson, currently on 1 point, but qualifies 8th for tonight. Then it's Meldrum, DGH, Big Bruiser, Erases 007, I think that is his name. And then Paul Codd, Dembis, I think that is. Again, I can't quite read it from here. Then Safe Hands, Anarchy, and James Strav being your reserves, with the final Red Bull Safe Hands not with us either. And there you go. This is your team standing. So 48 points for the Alpine pair. There we go. So 99 points for the Mercedes. They're doing a fantastic job in the constructors. Then 56 points for the Racing Bulls, followed by the Alpine and Kick Sauber on 48 and 43 points. They're in a bit of a fight. But then further down the order, we have the Aston Martin, Haas, and Red Bulls very close together, 17 and 15 points respectively. Then, of course, 2 points to Ferrari, with your non-scorers so far being Williams and the McLaren. We shouldn't be really too long. We don't really mess around here in NRRL, Nitro Realistic Racing League. Things really just get underway as soon as they possibly can. No time to talk about what's happened in qualifying. We know that Tez is on pole with Noah in second. And just give you an idea of where Noah should be. I'm just trying to find him on the standings now on my piece of paper. No, I can't find him at the moment. So I don't know if I'm missing something there. I do apologize, if there's a misrepresentation. But otherwise, we'll see what happens. But of course, last week in Spain, the win went to Dan Lovett, but I think Dan is going to have a bit of competition here because Tez and Noah and a couple of other drivers have found a way ahead of him, and even his teammate Rendog as well has found some pace here in the land of the rising sun. So, of course, I mean, I would try and find some notes for you, but I'm trying to find out what is the lap record held around the Suzuka circuit. Of course, I've got a book full of notes here in front of me. I'm just need to dig out the one that has the notes about this track. Whether I have the time or not is a very different matter. But, of course, so Dan Lovett going into tonight, 6th place with a bit of work to do. So, usually strategy can come into play here, but you've also got to have the pace. So, it'll be a very big question who will be starting on what. And we'll see, of course, how that all comes out in a few moments' time. But I'm just trying to have a think here. And thinking, like, you know, we got Quincy in here as well, like I said before. SSRL Division 2 Championship winner now. And that is in his own little league. So, Quincy will be feeling very good indeed. And also, I think, feeling very good will be Tez. I think he's raced before. In the Friday Night League, that is. So he'll be feeling very good indeed on top of things right now. But again, that could be wrong indeed. But at the moment, we're just trying to wait for things to get underway. Drivers deciding their strategies. I think what you will see here is just due to the winding nature and due to the fact that the tyres will probably be used a bit all around here, especially on the rears, especially a lot of traction zones as well, and a lot of G-forces being pulled, as this is the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. I think you are not gonna see a 1-stop, maybe a 2 or 3 stop is more than possible. But of course, I have been proven wrong in the past. But I think the race today for the win will be between Tez and Noah. It will be interesting to see how the Mercedes try and keep their lead tonight. They're gonna have to really have talks about their strategy. But then otherwise, we're not really gonna find out until the race has, of course, concluded, and once we are underway. Of course, the Suzuka circuit really, of course, struggled in real life with overtaking, of course, with a lot of dirty air being generated from the cars. It was just very difficult for cars to overtake. I think we only saw about 10 overtakes, but never mind that, because we have 3, 4, 5 red lights in NRRL. It's going Japan there, and I think Tez has got the better start than Noah, and here we go, down into the first corner. It's going to be a high-speed chase, and Noah is ahead of the Kick Sauber. What a start from Noah as Quincy is battling with the Ferrari in the background. There's already a yellow flag for a spun round RB. Oh, and Tez is at the barrier as well. Oh, goodness me, so that's 2nd place gone for the Kick Sauber. Down to 14th he goes, and Gali as well in the Racing Bulls was the one who spun at the back, as the Haas is also having a bit of drama trying to get back onto the track through the stake section. But awful start for Tez and awful start for Gali, both involved in spins, and lap 1 in the first few corners. 53 laps to come here from the Suzuka circuit. But at the moment, I Have No Grip has got clear road ahead to Noah, but I don't think he quite has the pace over the Williams driver. Let's have a look at the tyres. Everybody's on Dan on soft, so he's wanting to make positions right away. There's Red Dog already making a move for 2nd place. What pace has he got? 1.7 seconds, so separates him from Noah, but DRS doesn't quite matter around here. You only really have one opportunity to use it, and there's the Red Bull of DGH there. Who started from 5th, but is now up a position to 4th. But then Dan Lovett's going to put a stop to that. He's on those fresh, soft tyres. They will be faster at this stage of the first stint, so don't be surprised about that, as Dinosaur there is surely not going to try and make a move for a 130R. Hash was very kind, but I think Dan then did the same thing, and he's got past DGH, but he fights back through the Casio triangle, and then, well, he loses out big time there, as, oh my goodness me, that's Dinosaur, who's had a moment there. I think he was forced off by a car, potentially, but that'll be up to the stewards, as now, who's that? As it's Quincy into the pits there for a 10-second penalty. but speeding in the pit lane, well, we'll be lucky it's 100%. And look at that, both end plates have completely been smashed off. So unlucky for the Alpine driver, as he is now also the first driver to get a penalty in this race. But luckily for him, he can serve that in his next pit stop, and it won't affect his post-race results. But he really needs a safety car just to be brought back up to the pack or have immense pace. He is now on the medium tyres for his first and early stop, which of course was forced due to damage to the car. Noah is checked out from the pack behind now. It's 1.6 seconds, but Rendog is looking to try and bring this back, as he is now, looks like he got a great exit there from the hairpin. Gotta say, that was amazing, and it's even caught Noah a bit off guard there. He's got him underneath the second, so when they get to the DRS straight at the start for the straight, of course, the only one round the Japanese track, it is gonna, well, he's gonna have that rear ring advantage so long as he can keep the advantage as they go through the rest of the lap. 0.8 of a second separating Red Dog from Noah. Is Red Dog using a lot of his battery early and trying to carry I Have No Grip with him? But I Have No Grip also has to now worry about championship leader Dan Lovett. Let's see how this plays out as we go down into the Casio Triangle. Let's go on board with the Mercedes. We might be about to see an early lead change here in the Grand Prix. It is now going to be DRS open for the Mercedes. Red Dog takes the fastest lap, so he is definitely the faster car on this occasion. He's approaching, but he's not going to be close enough into the first corner, and he indeed just backs off for now just to take the corner. But then in the background, Meldrum overtakes DGH. DGH not having a good start, but neither is Meldrum, having a bit of a moment through the first corner. And what is going on with that Red Bull? Oh, goodness me, that was almost an unsafe rejoin as Garly there gets a 10-second penalty for a track. Oh my goodness me, there's contact between the McLaren and the Red Bull as well, going through the sixth section, and that's an unsafe rejoin. Oh, there's several things happening here. What is going on? I think that was the Haas rejoining the track as Paul Codd forces the Haas to give way, and Paul Codd makes his way through. But goodness me, already all sorts of things kicking off at the back of the field, and there'll be a lot for the stewards to review just within this first 3 laps there. Lots of contact, lots of wheel banging, and luckily everybody pointing in the right direction just about. Both Aston Martin swap as Hash is on those soft tyres, with Mr. J being on those hard, so he's going long in this first step. Caution in sector 1 for Kay Garley, but he's back underway, so no intervention required from the virtual race control here, as Dan Lovett is trying his best. As out Mr. J, but looks like he's getting back on his teammates. Won't be close enough through 130. I'll usually have to be alongside the car, but he is alongside here. But the Casio Triangle will have to cut back to the leader in a few moments. Contact between teammates. Rule number 1 of motorsport: don't hit your teammate, and they've got broken that. But is Rendog finally close enough to try and have a go on the leader? No, he is not, but there's also another battle going on in the background here, and this could be fireworks between the 4 cars. There is Tez here, who had a very, very unlucky moment, as now Ori Mass is trying to make his way through, and there's Paul Codd to the inside on the first corner. Goodness me, this is very nervy stuff for all 4 drivers. Try not to spin anybody around, or else you could have a post-race penalty coming your way. And I think, you know what, I did see this earlier, as there DGH goes wide and Tez goes round the outside. That was very nicely done from the Kickstarter, but we've had an incident elsewhere. We've had another yellow flag. Who is that for? It looks to have cleared up, so we won't really worry about it too much further. That could be for the Aston Martin we're looking at now, Hash, as he is now relegated down into 8th place. But also, I think that could be for... No, it isn't. Don't worry. I thought it was going to be for one of these pair, but I don't think it was. The yellow flag happened further ahead on the track. So, Matt Tudor, at the moment, is being caught by the pack behind, despite all their battling. In fact, Tez is now trying to make a move on Paul Codd down the inside of Spook Curve. You can make this work at this moment, and he does. Paul Codd doesn't fight that too hard, but DGH is going to get a run, despite his missing front wing end plate, which is what I was going to refer to earlier on. But, of course, that yellow flag just interrupted the train of thought there. DGH up into 12th place, but maybe Paul Codd could use the slipstream to his benefit if he can come back, but doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to do so. Dan Lovett with the fastest lap of the race, but his teammate as well trying to get alongside Noah into the first corner, but Noah holds firm for now. Great driving from the Williams, as now Meldrum and Mr. Jabe have just swapped positions. Meldrum up into 5th place, of course, slam dunk overtake with the DRS there. Of course, when that rear ring opens with the DRS detection point, activation point, beg your pardon. And at the moment now, a lot of swapping now. So let's have a look at your biggest winners and losers. Tez, honestly, one of your biggest losers out of that pole position, but now currently 11th place and is catching up. He's making his way through the field, so no real bad things happening, but something's happened to Belgium as he loses out to Mr. J, but the Ferraris go side by side through the Degners. That's not what you want to do, but they keep it clean, and well, time lost for both of them there, and that is, well, could have been a very interesting situation. But luckily, they all come out of it clean. The teammates respecting one another there, but it's also bringing the pack behind into this. Hash is catching up to this as well, although Hash coming off of a recent mistake. And then there's Matt Tudor, who's also catching up to all of this, so they just want to be careful with how they battle, or else they could be looking at bringing other cars into this, which of course is the last thing you really want. Looking at Ori Mas right now, he is trying to get the slipstream from the car in front of the Red Bull. He should get this move done if he really wants to chance it going into the Casio Triangle. Of course, this is the DRS detection point just there, so if he makes the move now, round the outside he goes, but the Red Bull will fight that back. Matt is going to go deep into the first part of the triangle, and he's going to have a bit of a scruffy exit. As a result, that might allow Tez to get through. Now, the Haas will have DRS, so as will the Kicksauber, so the Kicksauber now could be making it 2-in-1. Here we go into the first corner, but no, that straight line speed of the Haas just enough to keep the Kicksauber behind for the time being, and Matt Tudor doesn't lose not one, but 2 places, and now has his teammate behind for company. Dinosaur is keeping with his teammate for the time being, but of course his teammate ahead on 5-lap-old softs. Those will be falling off quicker than you would expect, and I'm surprised Dan Lovett is still keeping the gap here to I Have No Grip in front. And of course, if Dan can just make that overtake at the right point, as Meldrum gets a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations, so the warnings have now conjured up into a 3-second post-race penalty, which of course explains itself. But some of the drivers hoping to avoid that, but it is very easy to do around here. Of course, you see the runoff at Spoon, very easy to go right there, and especially on the exit as well. It's just wide enough for an F1 car to fit in and just get a warning there from the stewards there. As Dan Lovett is, Vrendog, to my surprise, is falling back into this battle. I wonder if something's gone a bit wrong there. I wonder if the medium tyres have gone a bit quicker than he would have expected, because now I Have No Grip is going to have an excellent run, as Mr. Jabe is the next driver for a 3-second track limits penalty. Gali and Quincy serving 10 seconds, as there you go, I Have No Grip up into second, but does Dan Lovett get the same love and appreciation from Rendog? Not in the way Rendog would have wanted, maybe, as, oh my goodness me, I Have No Grip also going wide, messing up the exit of the corner. Very easy to do. If you get too early on the power, very easy to understeer, as now Tez has made 2-in-1 up into 8th place, going past Ori Mas and then going past Hash. Great stuff from the Kicksauber up into 8th place, 5.3 seconds now to the Ferrari. So here's his eyes facing forward, and he's wasting no time at all. We're only on lap 7 with 47 laps to go, as now there's a bit of a yellow flag for Meldrum, that will be, who's made a mistake going through Dunlop Curve. And he is currently now just gonna resume in 7th place is Meldrum, as there's 2 Red Bulls having a bit of a swap there, but only technicality is that it seems DGH has remained behind his teammate for the time being. DGH there, of course, with a damaged front wing end plate. It's gone completely missing from the Red Bull, so that really does mean he is in all sorts of trouble. Now Dinosaur is the next driver to get a 3-second penalty, so really less work for Tez to do if he doesn't want to overtake the 3 cars in front of him, even though I'm sure he will, as DGH there with a big mistake. So does that mean Paul Codd could be having a shot here? No, not quite close enough to take advantage of that error from the second Red Bull driver, as there's all sorts of battling happening up ahead now. Of course, now Hash going to be overtaken by Ori Mas going into the Casio Triangle. Great move from the Haas, but a bit of contact there between the Aston Martin. He's just getting a bit desperate, as now Matt Tudor is also getting desperate to overtake his teammate Paul Cott with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Looks like the Casio Triangle is becoming a bit of a problem for our drivers this evening. I'm not too surprised by that. It is very easy to do that if you're taking those corners rather aggressively, and Paul Cott there waits until the second part of the first corner, but makes a mistake, and that allows Matt Tudor right back through. At the moment, the cars are starting to become separated, maybe to the relief of some people, but not to the relief of the neutrals. We want to see more of the racing, and it's been a very exciting evening so far. At the moment, of course, Noah has been your leader from lap 1 with a great start getting past Tez, and then Tez unfortunately finding the barrier, hence why he's down by so many positions. But he's making his way through the field as now the Red Bull of DGH is about to make a move on the Aston Martin, maybe up into the hairpin. Well, it does narrow down at the entry to the corner, so I'm not too surprised that he decided just to stay put for now, maybe wait until this part of the track to try and make a move. Here we go. That's going to be the outside for this corner, but the inside for the spoon curve. Still not close enough, though, to make a move. That's a very high-speed corner and very risky if you try it from all the way back there. Caution in Sector 3. It's Noah who spun round and he's lost the lead of the race through an uncharacteristic mistake. And now he is 2.1 seconds back from I have no grip, and he has got a lot of work to do. So similar fashion to Tez, just on a different part, but he's got no damage to the car, so he'll continue on as normal, but a bit desperate on his right foot. And he's spun round and now has work to do. From 4th place as now DGH makes a move under DRS and gets the move done. So now the Mercedes pair 1 and 2, they will be scoring maximum points as of right now for the constructors. They might just want to try and take fastest lap, and goodness me, the Red Bull through the stake section definitely understeering, and that end plate going missing has not helped matters at all. Hash at the moment is probably going to make a move, and then I say that, and Hash has made a very big blunder through Dunlop curve. He's going to have to be careful, give Paul Cott the room. My goodness me, he didn't leave a lot on the table there, did he? And luckily there was just a car's width for the McLaren to get through, and he goes up into 12th place for the time being. But I am sure Hash there will be back on the attack in a matter of moments' time. But just observing Noah right now, the gap has gone from 2 seconds to 1.1 seconds, so I have no grip being caught by what was your race leader from the last lap, but has now come outside the top 3. So this gives Dan Lovett a bit of an advantage here. Let's see what he can do. Of course, looking to make it 4 podiums in a row going into tonight. He's got podiums from round 2 onwards. Of course, we're on round 5 tonight as Tez there making a move. My goodness me, round the outside of the Casio Triangle. What on earth is Tez on? He is really dicing through the field. He is a man on a mission as we see Mel jump into the pit lane coming off of 9 lap soft tyres. And he will be he'll be changing those tyres for, I would assume, a fresh set of hards or mediums. More than likely a 2-stop here due to the high speed and high grip nature of the circuit. So you use a lot of rubber, as you also do have to rely on the rear tyres for traction. And Mel jump onto a set of mediums there. So see how it all goes. But I have no grip as well. Not only has he got Noah at the back of him, but he also has Rendog at the front. Can he keep eyes forward as Rendog with a minor lockup going into the hairpin? But he meets the apex still, so he's doing a very, very, very good job in his own eyes. But also, I think those softs have fallen off for Dan Lovett, because Rendog is now starting to catch his teammate and by 1.1 seconds. So if he can keep this momentum up, by the time we get to the DRS zone, he should be able to get that DRS advantage he so needs, as Gali there with another 3-second... Well, no, sorry, with his first 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Of course, he served a pit lane penalty for speeding in it earlier on, as now DGH is your next driver to get a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And, well, Red Dog couldn't quite carry that momentum. He's going to be vulnerable to I have no grip down the start for the straight. I don't think the Alpine is close enough to try and have a go as we move on to lap 11 out of 53. Yeah, no, he's not really gaining close enough. So through the first corner, he'll just have to stay behind the Mercedes for now. But that might be a sign of things to come as the stint comes to an end. But I am expecting medium tyres to come into the pits within the next 4 laps of the race. And maybe a set of hards and then go to the mediums onto the end. Or if you've come off of mediums, you then go... I don't know, would you go mediums to the end? I'm just trying to think of this out loud, because I don't think the mediums would do quite well enough to get to the end if you double stinted on those. I mean, you could probably get about, I'd say on a track like this, about 12 to 15 laps out of them, which isn't really enough, because then you'd have to pit on lap 41 anyway, so you... don't even see softs going to the end. So at some point you would we will probably see the hard tyres from everybody. Of course, some have already pitted for the hards. Let's just have a look at pit stops. So let's just have a look. 3 drivers currently on the hard tyre. That is Matt Tudor, Paul Codd, and Mr. Jabe. And, well, Mr. Jabe being caught by Mr. Mr. Dinosaur there. Mr. Dinosaur 64 has been bringing that gap down rather quickly, but then Tez is also right on the back of this. So let's see what the Kicksabber can do. He is dicing his way through the field at the moment and is doing a very good job. And looking to keep that car pointing in the right direction, considering lap 1, turn 2 it was. He made a mistake and sent him off into the barrier despite starting from pole position, and also lost out to Noah, who, of course, has now lost out through a mistake of his own. But here we go. Noah is at 0.3 of a second. Can he try and make a move into turn 1? Not quite close enough to do so. So on to lap 12 out of 53 for the leading pack, and for everybody else in a few moments' time, as Tez has DRS, as does Dinosaur on Mr. J, but nobody close enough to have a go at the moment. And that's kind of what we expected. It's going to be more of a chess match of a Grand Prix rather than a side-by-side overtaking festival. But then again, the first few laps would even contradict that. We saw a lot of wheel bagging, especially with the mid-pack to the bottom of the pack. And it's all calmed down for the time being. But now we're seeing Matt Tudor catch up to the back of the McLaren as well. That's the battle for 10th place. We'll keep you updated on that. But the one I really want to focus on right now is Tez. He is, of course, as we've already said already, coming from the back of the pack, and now with a bit of an error there from the Ferrari. Maybe he could have a look through the hairpin, but again, just wasn't quite alongside enough. So we'll just hold station and then try and go again. I don't think it's going to be close enough at the spoon curve. Needed a better exit than that one. And, of course, don't forgetting as well, the battle for third is also hyping up, but Dan Lovett, under all sorts of pressure, finds himself at the lead of the race. There's been a bit of an error there. I think Meldrum went off track and has gained himself another 3-second penalty for track limit violation. So that brings his total up to 6 seconds going into his post race. And there's been a mistake there, and that is from Kay Garley. And he's pointing in the right direction, though, so no need for any intervention from race control. But he looks to have been lapped, as now Tez and Dinosaur have swapped positions. But Tez will have the DRS, but Dinosaur has the momentum on the exit of the corner. And they both have DRS, because there's the Aston Martin in front of them both. Can the Ferrari come back? No, it looks like Tez has the straight line speed to give, and maybe some ERS to boot as well for assistance. And Tez will keep that 6th place after making the overtake at Casio Triangle, and now has the Aston Martin in front. But Tez surely in contention for driver of the day, because this has been an excellent drive from the Kicksabber driver so far. We're only into the early stages of the Grand Prix, and I'll probably be singing his praises more than once tonight. The lead battle has certainly closed up, and there's other battles to keep an eye on as well. Of course, Matt Tudor in the back, and of course, Tez, as Garley has retired in the pit lane. So there'll be no need for an intervention from race control, not like a VSC or anything like that. If you retire in the pit lane, that's usually pretty much it. You don't really cause any trouble. As Noah with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. That may not matter in the grand scheme of things, but bit more work for him to do now, and he won't be happy with that, that's for sure. Just needs to kind of keep pointing in the right direction. Of course, Noah currently the one at the back of this pack, and we are currently seeing Dan Lovett lead it. Despite being on soft tyres, he is now going to start the 14th lap on those. This is impressive stuff from the British driver, but now all 3 drivers behind will have DRS. Can Noah try and make a move as Dinosaur gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations? I think that's his first for the night. No, that's his second, beg your pardon. And, unfortunately for him, now has 6 seconds added on to his post-race time. Ori Mas just trying to catch up to that, as now Tez, makes his move for 5th place. And that is under Slam Dunk DRS, and now will begin his work to catch up to the top 4, the where he expected to be tonight. He's done, like I said before, done a very good job to carve his way through the field. But now the real where your money comes in is how you can pick yourself back up on lap 14 out of 53. He can't be too far away from a pit stop. I thought we were going to be seeing pit stops earlier than this, but that hasn't happened so far. So I think we're going to probably be seeing towards maybe lap 20, but I think these soft tyres are going to be a massive worry for Dan. He needs to come off those probably sooner rather than later, and I would say a set of hards, then set of mediums for your second stop. So I do believe we are going to be seeing a 2-stop. There's just no way you can 1-stop this, and with Dan being on the softs, no way for him either. But look at Rendog, he's getting a better exit from just about everywhere. Will Dan think about defending this? He moves to the left just a little bit just to say, don't try anything through here, please. Will he be so kind as to try something into the Casio? Not quite. And am I seeing rain there on our screen? I am indeed, and this is probably why we have been waiting. Rain has arrived at the circuit, and now this might change the complexion of things. Let's just go on board and be safe. Yes, rain has arrived, and there's Red Dog to the inside, and there's nearly contact between the teammates. There's contact there, though. The right front wheel hangs onto the rear left wheel. A real right wheel, beg your pardon, of the Mercedes, and bit of an internet moment from the lobby there, but looks like we're going to be A-OK. But Dan Lovett loses the lead of the race. Red Dog takes over, and I do just wonder as now Tez is into the pit lane for the first time as Noah gets a run out of Dunlop and gets the move done. What a move from the Williams driver. Despite that 3-second penalty, he's still getting on with it and just staying focused. That's what he needs to do. But Tez now into the pit lane. I imagine he's got on to intermediates. No real surprise there. He's the first to react. Is it too early or is it just right? We'll wait and see. Once virtual race control remove the DRS, that's usually the sign. Is now Noah has a great run on Rendog. Does Rendog fight this hard? He's not really given the chance. Noah is already through, and now surely it's only a matter of time as Dan Lovett retook the lead there, and we will find out to see what Noah can do down the straight. Surely those soft tyres are just about done. There is no way Dan can hold on to this. But with all this battling, does this give... Well, I would say this gives a chance for Tez to catch up, but it hasn't. Of course, remember, making his first pit stop very early on. And I do think it is just a little too early for the kick Sauber driver just to take advantage of those. But Dan Lovett into the pit lane, and I imagine it's going to be intermediates for him. Rendog doesn't follow suit, and what's worse for Rendog is Noah has DRS in front of him because of Dan being behind Dan at the detection point, which of course was before the Casio triangle. But Noah makes a mistake again, and that's his second mistake of the evening. What was a flawless drive back in Silverstone is not being replicated here in Suzuka, and I think the rain might be contributing to that. Very wide through the first corner as tons of drivers making their pit stop. Is Paul Codd made him pit stop? He's making a lot of positions, but he's still on hard tyres. And look at the drivers, they're having to take it so cautiously. Lots of pit stops coming in thick and fast, and Tez has made up some time. I think actual fact as Noah has made his way past Tez with a 3-second penalty, though. A lot of things happening thick and fast. So now Noah and Tez on even keel for the time being. And there you go. It's a wet race. DRS disabled. Look at the top three having to squirrel their way around the hairpin. That's not usual to see that. But let's see what Rendog has in response. Let's go on board with the Mercedes driver. You can sort of compare the struggles for both drivers. Look at this. It's so slow going through the spoon curve. And this is only going to help Tez. Oh, but wait a minute. There's been an accident and Tez is in the gravel. Oh, what could have been an absolute redemption has turned into absolute misery. This is absolute chaos happening right now as Dinosaur and Meldrum are swapping positions. What's the reason for that? As Meldrum is on dry tyres and on fresh dry tyres as well. And look at the advantage the intermediates have. But Tez has blown that, unfortunately. But I think there could have been contact with another driver. I'm not too sure, though, as there we go. The top three do make their way into the pit lane. But the one to look out for is Dan Lovett. He pitted before the three in front of him did as Rendog and Noah swap positions. But that's only in the pit lane. Mr. Jabe is also in as well. Can Dan Lovett come out ahead of the three in front? He can, rather comfortably. Dan Lovett takes the lead officially of the Japanese Grand Prix, and it is now surely his race to lose. All the pit strategies we've been talking about have been thrown out of the window. We now need to see those intermediates probably be changed again. Will the weather dry up, or will it get worse? I am not very sure at the moment. We don't get that information in the commentary box, unfortunately. But now the top, well, everybody now needs to make another pit stop. Matt Tudor on full wets there. As, well, Quincy, we haven't spoken much about. He was involved in a tussle. Well, I say he was involved in a tussle, but he had damage earlier on, which forced him to come into the pits and replace his front wing. And I just wonder if this is really now the end of his race, because I think if we were going to see a safety car, I think we would have seen it by now. But then again, things can change at the snap of a finger. And then as soon as I say that, there is some battling going on between Dinosaur even, and Mr. J, but there was a bit of a yellow flag there, which just caused a brief scare. Let's see what they can do through the hairpin. There you go, and it's looking like they're just going to keep it line astern for the time being. Sensible to do so.